Guys, welcome back to my Guru channel. And as you have seen in the first part of our ASR demo, we implemented an application gateway. Application gateway in our design was implemented in the UK region, UK South region, and we also implemented the two web servers which are running IaaS. And if I go back to my Azure portal and go to the application gateway, as you can see, this is my application gateway, and let's go and check the backend health of our pool. So let's check the backend health of the pool to make sure that our web servers on the backend are working fine. So once we test, which is this one, you will be able to hit the backend servers. As you can see, it's returned web 02. Sometime it will return web 01, sometime it will return web 01, and sometime web 02. So the application gateway is up and running fine, and the next step is to basically enable the ASR. So for enabling the ASR or Azure Site Recovery, what we have to do is to go to the disaster recovery blade and go to the disaster recovery blade, and as you can see, we can enable the disaster recovery. It's asking about the disaster recovery between the availability zone. We are not enabling the disaster recovery between the availability zone. We need disaster recovery across the region. So we are going to select East US, which is, as per our design, should be our disaster recovery site. So we'll go with East US. Let's check the next advanced settings. So in the next advanced settings, as you can see, it will create a resource group. If my resource group name was test RG, it is going to create a new resource group, test RG-ASR. If my VNet information was VNet 01, it's going to create VNet 01-ASR. On the availability, you have the choice. You can go with the availability set, you can go availability zone, or you can go single instance. Let's go with the availability set, because we also have the availability set on the production side. Then proximity placement geography, we are not applying, we are not enabling it. That's fine. So basically, let's go and review and start the application. So as you can see, it's going to create the recovery service vault in East region, as you can see, and that's where our basically the backup of our Azure VM will be get stored. So let's start the replication. As when you enable the start replication, it will create the resources first. So basically, it's going to create the recovery vault, it's going to create the retention policy, it's going to create the VNet, which is in our case VNet 01-ASR, and it will also create all the subnets which were present in the original VNet. So it started. As you can see, the deployment is being submitted. If you go to the backup center, you should be able to see what's going on in more details. So that's fine. So we are seeing that the deployment is in progress. And if I go to the backup center, you can see there is an option there which says click here to view the ASR jobs across the vault and subscription. So let's have a look. So as you can see, it's basically creating the replication for my VM. It also created the VNets. It mapped the network, it created the VNets and everything. Let's go and check what about the VNets themselves. So if we go to the VNet information, you can see that VNet 01, we had 3 subnets. We had the subnet DMZ and Azure subnet, so it's 2 subnets we had originally in VNet 01. And if I go to the VNet ASR, you will also see that the subnets are exactly the same, and IP address scheme is also the same. So it created, actually when we enable the ASR, it created the exact replica of my VNet in the secondary region. So if we go to backup center one more time, let's see the ASR jobs. It's creating the retention policy. It's still going on, as you can see in the activity log. And okay, so now I think it's completed. Let's go back and check our status. So let's go to the backup center. As you can see now in the backup center, if I go to my ASR jobs and see the status right now, I think everything is successful here. Let's go back to the ASR replicated item. And as you can see, the Web 01 is healthy and protected. So at this stage, you are ready to do either the actual failover, or you are also ready to do a test failover. It's highly recommended to do the test failover first and then go for the actual failover, because test failover will tell you what are the problems you might face when you do the actual failover. The second thing is that if you do the test failover, you are going to deploy the DR copy of the Web 01 in a separate VNet. You can call it test VNet or whatever, and that VNet has no impact on the production traffic. So you can bring up that VM, it will come with a different host name, and of course you can test it with an application gateway, or you can test it by just going to the VM and trying to connect the IaaS server or the web server using its private IP or the local host. So it will give you the option, if you do the test failover, it will give you the option of testing the DR failover, site failover in an isolated manner without impacting your production. So it's very good feature of ASR, which we should test for the production environments. So let's go back to the backup center. What I have done is, I have actually thinking about that I need to do the testing as well. I created a test VNet in my East US region, and I also created a test subnet, TMZ test. Now as you can see, the IP address scheme of the test VNet is totally different, 10.3.1.10.3.0.0/16, and the DMZ test subnet is 10.3.1.0/24. So it's completely segregated. It has no peering with VNet 01 or VNet 01-ASR. Now if you want to do the test failover, you can, I will show you how you can select the test VNet, and the VM copy of the Web 01 will get deployed in this test VNet, and the DMZ test subnet, and the VM will be up and running. What I also have done is that I also created a VNet link from test lab 1 to this test VNet, so that when the VM will come up, it will get its A record automatically created. At that stage, you can do application gateway test deployment for testing only, and you can test the application gateway connectivity to the backend test VNet for your testing. Or what you can also do is you can create a new public IP on the existing application gateway, and from there you can connect to this DMZ. You can connect to this VNet test VNet and connect to this DR copy of our testing VM and test the whole application end to end. So there are multiple ways of testing, but for just to keeping the demo, keeping the scope of the demo simple, I'm not going to do the end-to-end testing. What I'm going to show you that how you can do a test failover using ASR console, and how the Azure will bring up that VM, what IP address it will get, and if it's actually doing successful site failover or not. That thing we are going to show you for the test failover. So let's go back to our backup center, and in the backup center click on the ASR replicated items. Here you go, and on this menu you have the options. You have the option of test failover and the actual failover. Let's do the test failover first. So when you're doing the test failover, you are getting an option of selecting your VNet where you want to do the test failover. As I said earlier, it's not recommended to do the test failover in the actual mapped VNet, in this case VNet 01-ASR. So we will go with the test VNet for the testing, and just click test failover. So as soon as you do the test failover, it will start the process of doing the site failover in a test mode. As a result of this test failover, what's going to happen is that you will get another VM, which probably named as web01-test, and that VM will be exact replica of your web01 IaaS server. Everything is exactly the same, and at that point it's up to you that you want to do an end-to-end testing, or you think that this site failover testing only for the web01 is enough for your satisfying your audit requirements or meeting your compliance requirement and on. So let's wait for the test failover to complete. You can go on the activity log. As you see, this is doing the test failover of the virtual machine web01, which is protected. So it will take some time, and we'll pause the video and come back again to see how the VM will look like when it's actually popped up in test VNet. As you can see, we're checking the status of the test failover on the console, and it is showing that the prerequisite check for the test failover is successful. It has created the test virtual machine, and now it's preparing the virtual machine to be up and running. And then finally it will start the virtual machine in our test VNet. It will get a different IP, of course, and when it got auto-registered with our private DNS zone, we are expecting that this VM will get a new A record as well. So let's wait for this process to complete. So the test failover process is completed. As you can go back and check in the backup center, and let's see the status. It's healthy and it's ready for the cleanup of the test failover. We're not doing the cleanup right now, but we're just checking the status of the test failover. As you can see, the test failover was successful. So let's go back and check the virtual machines, and as you can see, we get a new machine here, web01-test in test rg.asr, right, in the resource group, and it is running in the East US region, and it's, let's check this IP, what IP it got. So it didn't get the public IP, but it get actually assigned the IP from the virtual net. The virtual net is actually test VNet, as we said that it needs to go to the test VNet, and it get the IP from probably from 10.3.1.0 basically. So let's check its IP as well. Meanwhile, we are on the machine, so let's check its IP. Let's go back to the machine, go to the networking. Yeah, it got the IP from 10.3.1.4. So it actually in the right test VNet. And if you want to see that the private DNS has its record or not, so let's go back to the private DNS zone and check the A records here. So it has the IP of the web01 and web02, but it did not assign so far any A record for our test machine. So this is actually the behavior of the although we had the link, if you go back to the link of virtual network link, it has a link to test VNet and its auto registration is enabled, but still for some reason the behavior of the private DNS zone is that it did not get assigned. It did not assign a record to the newly brought up machine, probably because it's just a test machine or is deployed only for the testing. So it's up and running. If you want to connect to this machine, let's try to connect. Because we don't have the bastion, so we'll try to connect through using RDP. But the problem is that we don't have the public IP, so we will not be able to connect to this machine unless we do the bastion or assign a public IP to it. So I think for testing, I would say that this testing is more than enough, that we got the failover done successfully. And we in any case have to do the actual failover, so we'll go back and do the cleanup of the test activity. So let's go back to the backup center, and we will do now cleanup of the test failover, and we can say the testing is over, although we did not test each and every step, but we're saying that testing is successfully done. So we now actually starting the cleanup the test failover process. So I'll wait for the test cleanup of the test failover process. As the result of this cleanup, the VM which we got deployed will get removed, and then we are ready for doing actual or we actually going to do the actual failover, site failover for our application. So let's wait for this test failover to complete. I'll pause this video and come back once this operation is done. As you can see, it is still completing the test failover cleanup, so we have to wait for a couple of minutes. So our test failover cleanup is done, and now as you can see again, the Web 01 is healthy and protected. Let's go back and check the virtual machines, and as you can see, we are only running the 2 web servers in Central India region, and the test failover machine is gone. Now at this stage, I would say that we are ready for doing the actual failover, and for doing the actual failover, we have to go back to our ASR replicated items. Click here, and here on the left hand side you have the failover option. When you do the failover option, it first checks that the failover can happen, and we can also select the recovery point, the last recovery points. So source is Central India region, zone 1, and destination is East US. At that point, we can select the latest process RTO, the lowest RTO. We can select what recovery point we want to recover, and we can also shut down the machines before doing the failover. So if you select this option, what it's going to do is it's going to shut down the source machines in the Central India region before doing the actual failover. So let's try to start the failover. So we have started the actual unplanned failover of the machines in our Central India region. So let's see how the failover operation goes. It will take some time. You can check the status in backup center, going to the activity logs. So let's check the status of the ASR. So first of all, this was the last task which we did, was the test failover cleanup. Now it should show some activities around the actual failover. As you can see, now it's showing that the failover is in progress, and we just have to wait till this failover process is completed. I'll pause the video and come back in a couple of minutes once this failover operation is completed. So now, as you can see, the failover for Web 01 is completed. So now we have to do the failover for Web 02 as well, so that both our web servers can fail over to the other site. So if you have not done test failover in last 180 days, it will give you a warning. That's fine. We are just doing the testing, and we also said to shut down the server before it starts. So right now the Web 01 is failed over, and now we are doing the failover for the Web 02. If you go to the virtual machines, you can see here that Web 01 is shut down in Central India, and Web 01, the replica copy of Web 01, is now up and running in East US, and now we are doing the same thing for Web 02. So let's wait for the failover for the Web 02 to complete, and then we come back and go for the next steps. So as you can see now, both of our web servers have been switched to the ES region. As you can see now, Web 01 and Web 02 in Central India region are down, and our site failover for both of the web servers is completed. Both our web servers are running in East US region right now. At this stage, our site failover is completed, but our application is still not up and running. And the reason for this is that we have our application gateway, which was sitting in as per design. If you look into our design, we had the application gateway sitting in the VNet 02, which had a peering link with VNet 01. Now this application gateway, if you want to do the full complete end-to-end testing or make sure our application is up and running, our application gateway has to point or has to have a connectivity with VNet 01-ASR, which is now running from ES region. Because the IP address scheme for VNet 01 and VNet 01-ASR are identical, so therefore VNet 02 pairing with VNet 01 ASR unfortunately would not be possible unless we remove the link between VNet 02 and VNet 01. So as a part of the DR failover, what we have to do is to go back to our virtual network. Let's go to the virtual network, go to our VNet 02, and here we have the pairings with VNet 01. We have to remove this. And that's basically one of the flaw of this design approach, that you have to do certain activities after the site failover is completed. To improve this design, if we would have another application gateway running in East US region, then in that case we would not be able to do these steps basically. Or if we have the traffic, as you see in this diagram, if we had, for example, in option number 2, our traffic manager running, in that case what could happen is that if these two servers are down and we have switched over to East US region, the application load balancer in the East US region would start receiving the traffic from the traffic manager. But in our option 1, which we are demoing here right now, we only have one application load balancer which can only talk to VNet 01 or VNet 01-ASR at a time. It cannot talk to both because VNet 01 and VNet 01-ASR have the same IP address scheme, and Azure will not allow to have the pairing between VNet 02 and VNet 01, as well as VNet 02 and VNet 0-1-ASR at the same time, as long as both of the VNet 01 and VNet 01-ASR has the same IP address scheme. So that's why now we are removing the pairing between VNet 02 and VNet 01, and then we go back and add the pairing between VNet 02, VNet 01-ASR, and similarly we can say VNet 01-ASR VNet 02, and the remote virtual network is, we are in VNet 02, so we have to add VNet 01-ASR. So basically we are connecting from VNet 02 to VNet 01-ASR, and let's add the pairing between the two virtual nets. So once this virtual net VNet is done, the VNet pairing is done between VNet 02 and VNet 0-1-ASR, our application gateway should be able to communicate back to the backend servers, and our application should be up and running. So let's wait for this pairing to complete, and let me pause the video right now, and then I will wait for the pairing to complete and then come back. So let's check our pairing status. So let's go back to the pairing status, and now you can see that the pairing is done. Pairing established between VNet 02 and VNet 01-ESR. At this stage, if I go back to my application gateway, and let's check the backend health. So we go back to backend pool and check the backend health. Now remember that our web servers are no more longer running in Indian region, Central India region. They are now running from East US region. The site failover is complete. So as you can see, the backend health is healthy. Let's go and try to access our application. Let's see what was our public IP. Let's see, check the public IP. Yeah, here is the public IP. So let's go and check this public IP and see our application is running or not. As you can see, it's running, and just to make sure that it's running from successfully, just let's check it again. So as you can see, it's running perfectly fine. The web servers are up and running after the site failover, and as you can see, everything looks fine to us. The failover has been completed, and now the next step, the last step of this demo would be that we now need to go back to our original site. How we will actually do the failback. So let's go back to our backup center, and let's go back to the ASR service status, job status, sorry. So let's go back to our replicated items. As you can see here, the failure is completed, and 100% they have no issues. Now at this stage, we can do one thing, that we can commit. If we commit, then basically because the application is wide open for the user, so you have to commit it. So let's commit it. So now we are actually doing the commit. So commit is done. Now you go to web 02, and we also committed this one as well. So now if I go back to my virtual machines, so as you can see here, site failover is complete. Now if this application is wide open inside 02, and some people are actually updating the records and everything, then you have to do the failback as well. The failback, there are different ways of doing failback. One possibility is that you will start replicating these East US region web 01, web 02. For example, if I go to web 01 in East US region, I can go and I can replicate back, for example, right? So I can replicate it back. As you can see, I can resynchronize as well. So right now it's showing no issues right now, but if we don't want to do that, and we just want to get rid of, so what I can do is that we can just shut down the East US servers. Let's shut them down. So we're shutting it down. And we will also shut down the web 02. Let's shut down the web 02 as well. So we're now stopping both web servers in Central US region. Let's wait for servers to stop. We'll come back once the servers are stopped completely. So right now, as you can see here, that my all servers are stopped, and now I'm failing back. Now my failback to Central India region is based on assumption that I have not changed any configurations in the servers or the application while the servers were up and running in East US. If this assumption is not true, then in that case you have to replicate the East US servers back to Central India region using ASR. But right now that's not my situation. My situation is that we just brought up the servers in East US region, and we have not changed any configuration. No data has been changed. So in that case, I'm just going to simply delete the East US copies. So as you can see, I can delete the East US copy. Just make sure that you're deleting East US copy. So East US copy is now being deleted for Web 01. It's gone. Similarly, we'll go to Web 02 copy of East US, and we are going to delete this one as well. So we are deleting the East US copies of Web 01 and Web 02. Now, this is the planned failback process. Both servers are gone now, and just we're going to start the servers in India and start them. Starting the Web 01, and we are starting the Web 02 as well in Central India region. So both machines are going to be restarted in Central India region. Once the servers are started back, you can reprotect them using Azure ASR. This concludes our demo about ASR setup and site failover using single application gateway in the third region. The design option we selected was, again just for your reference, was basically this one, option 1, where we have only one ASR, only one application gateway, which was sitting in a different zone, while we have the web servers running in Central India region. We configured the ASR, we did site failover, and then we have to remove the VNet link or VNet pairing between VNet 02 and VNet 01 before we can do the pairing of VNet 02 with VNet 01-ASR for making our application up and running. So this is the design limitation, but of course this actually comes with the advantage that you are actually not maintaining two applications application gateway instances, so you are saving some cost. If we go and we are also not using any traffic load balancer or traffic manager. But if we go with the option number 2, in our upcoming our upcoming demo videos will show that if you want to enhance our DR design, and if you want to reduce the RTOs and RPOs further in the case of the actual DR, what we are going to do is that we are going to deploy one application gateway in Central India region and one application gateway in East US region, and we will put traffic manager in front of it and then try to do the site failover. And in this design, the RTO would be lesser, because in that case we don't have to remove the VNet pairing and recreate the VNet pairing. This the traffic manager would be able to redirect the traffic to the site which is up and running. Hopefully you like this video, and I'm looking forward to see you in my upcoming videos. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much.